If my last video didn't make it clear, I love Transformers since I was a little kid, so what better way to show my love than make a low budget toy review, that of vintage G1 Optimus Prime. Now, this isn't actually the original release of the figure that was released back in '84, but simply the latest of many reissues. That said, the box art did such a great job of looking like a time traveler dropped this figure onto the shelf at Walmart that it made me want to buy the figure on the spot, and vintage Hot Rod, who will have his own day in the sun. Yes, you heard that right, this neat little figure is a Walmart exclusive of all places. You can still buy it on the website as well, or just presumably walk the aisle and grab one right off the shelf. However, buyer beware, he does not come with a trailer. Now, I don't think Optimus needs a trailer per se, but you've got to admit the trailer adds a lot of presence to the figure, even if admittedly it is an overpriced box on wheels. That said, I think they should sell a version of the reissue with the trailer, just for collectors who don't want to feel like they're missing core features. As for myself, while I don't regret buying him, I do wish they included the trailer, even if it would have made the toy more expensive. That doesn't mean the trick mode is by itself any bad though. In fact, it's kinda neat. The glossy cherry red cab and navy blue back end make the die-cast metal pop. For those of you not in the know, die-cast metal is a meme in Transformers fandom, basically just used to make the toys shinier. And this toy is definitely shiny. We've got die-cast headlights, grille, bumper, gas tanks, robot thighs hidden under the truck mode, wheels with rubber tires which roll perfectly, and last but not least, smokestacks. Funny story on the smokestacks. When the toy was reissued for North America for the first time in 2002, but not the first reissue ever, the smokestacks were shortened for safety reasons, among other changes. However, vintage is actually notable in that the smokestacks are back to their original length. Not sure why they did that, but it's a nice touch. The last feature we can talk about is his cabin, or rather his cockpit. Pulling the windshield down will reveal seating for two Diaclone figurines, which haven't been packaged with the Transformers figures since before the franchise was even created. But to quote Swerve, that's a whole nother story. Nowadays, it doesn't really serve a purpose. You can stuff his fists in there if you're so inclined, though that just leaves his laser rifles out in the cold. But before we get to the transformation, size comparison. Here's Siege Optimus, Classics Mirage, Classics Megatron, King Goji, and Cybertron Optimus. As you can see, he's not that big of a truck, about the same size as a smaller modern Deluxe. But since he was designed to be played with other Diaclone power robots, aka most of the 1984-85 Autobots, I think we'll let it slide. The transformation is extremely simple. First off, the legs aren't joined together, so all you need is to flip one leg at a time. Do be careful, however, the joint appears to move on some sort of spring-loaded ratchet joint, which appears to be slowly grinding the plastic away, so be aware. Flip the toe up, pull one arm from the side, pull the shoulder forward, then pull the elbow down, attach the fists to the corresponding arms, then finally rotate the head until it tabs onto the chest. As you can see, the character model for the cartoon and comic took a lot of liberties with the design, which was par for the course until the movie came out, but compared to other characters like Ironhide, Ratchet, or even Bumblebee, Prime's practically one-to-one. I'm glad they filled this figure out, though, because he does look a little goofy. The head's kinda squat, with big old yellow eyes, the legs and arms are kinda scrawny, and he's got a sort of waspish waist going on. As for articulation, his ratcheted shoulder can be rotated 360 degrees, and can move inward thanks to the transformation. His elbows also bend a solid 90 degrees thanks to what I assume to be a spring-loaded swivel. The elbows can also be rotated 360 degrees with some minor clearance issues, though that can be mitigated. The legs can move back 90 degrees thanks to the transformation. But weirdly enough, he also has a 90-degree bend at the knees. Since he's essentially a brick though, he really can't make much use of it. The best you can do is put him in the angry stepdad walk from Stormbringer. That being said, I don't think it's fair to judge a toy from the 1980s by today's standards. We've come a long way when it comes to transforming toys. As for accessories, he comes with two previously mentioned fists, a sticker sheet, which I've already applied badly, and two laser rifles, or as we now call them, ion blasters. Originally, the first toy came with a rounder, thicker rifle, but most other reissues were packaged with a thinner rifle. But vintage G1 was kind enough to give us both. letting him dual wield. And as we all know, the easiest way of making a badass character cooler is to give him 2 guns to hold simultaneously. Unfortunately, the rifles suffer from a well-known design flaw. As you can see, they've got 2 big old 5mm posts, used by most Transformers nowadays, but the trigger and handle sitting behind the post means it can't be pushed in all the way. I mean, he holds them fine, but from the side he looks kind of awkward. Size comparison: Siege Optimus, Classics Mirage, Classics Megatron, King Goji, and Cybertron Prime. For some reason, I always thought G1 figures were on the small end when it came to toys, but as you can see, he's actually decently tall. Shorter than a modern Voyager, but still taller than a Deluxe. I guess I'm used to Prime being a leader class giant. Honestly, despite this toy's limitations, I'm so glad I bought this figure. Not only does he have an important place in toy history, but he's also simply fun to play with. But should you buy it? If you're a fan of Transformers or just interested in toys in general, go right ahead. However, if you prefer your action figures extremely posable and well designed, I really don't know what to say. But in any case, that's it for this review. This is Nektock, signing out.